Yes, teacher.
Okay. I'm sorry for being late. I am truly tired because I was overloaded with the international conference. So therefore, I'm so sorry. I wonder how many students are there in our class? How many students? The maximum number?
There are 34 students in my class, but I don't know how many students apply to this course.
Okay. So it's really, I suppose that you will know, is it? You can, where is you? You or me? Okay. So I couldn't see. You contacted with me. So I hope that you can know how many students are there in our class. But I wonder whether you herself is our student. Okay, anyway, I just see here only 14 students, but I should start the class, okay? We are going to talk about legal reasoning and legal methodology. I hope that you already know the Vietnamese terms of these titles of the subject. So can anyone translate this to me and let me know what is the proper name in English of this subject? Thanh Nhàn, what do you understand about the title of this subject? Thanh Nhàn. Thanh Nhàn, no. Where are you?
Teacher, I'm here.
Okay, I would like you to let me know the Vietnamese name of this subject. I'm sorry, I'm a bit sick, therefore my voice is not okay. Thanh Nhàn.
Yeah.
The Vietnamese title of this subject, what do you think?
This subject in Vietnamese lập luận pháp lý and phương pháp nghiên cứu luật học.
Not the reasons for doing the legal research. This is just the methodologies for reasoning as well. Okay. Lập luận pháp lý và phương pháp, lập luận pháp luật và phương pháp lập luận đó, okay. Not the phương pháp nghiên cứu, right? So today, methodologies for legal research is a kind of methodology for social science research. It's totally different. It's not related to our subject. Okay, so our subject only relating to legal reasoning. Therefore, in the English speaking environment, this subject is simply called legal reasoning. And then some countries also call them legal reasoning and legal methodologies. So therefore, we choose the title legal reasoning and legal methodologies. But in fact, most of the things we talk is about legal reasoning. I designed this subject with 5 chapters. The first one is Introduction to Legal Reasoning. The second one, we'll be reading text about law and text of the law. Later on, we will find out the differences between text about law and text of the law. The main focus will be legal arguments, okay? And then from these, all of the backgrounds from 1 to 3, we can build up a very complete document. And we just look at the 2 samples, that is memoranda, and another one is brief. These are 2 popular documents submitted to our clients as well as to the court. Finally, when you're involved in a legal disputes and become lawyers of your clients, most of the time, you also have to attend a hearing at the court and giving an oral argument, and therefore the techniques, the differences between oral and written arguments will be discussed. And I hope that this knowledge will be able for you to use in the future. Yeah, right? If you would like to work in the legal field. Okay, first of all, Introduction to Legal Reasoning. So within this chapter, we will have the following parts: the study of legal reasoning, the art of legal reasoning, effective legal writing style, and paragraphing. First of all, the study of legal reasoning. So we will start with the concept. What is legal reasoning? There are 2 senses in order to approach to this definition. The broad sense, okay? This is the psychological processes undergone by judges in reaching decisions in the cases before them. Legal reasoning is the psychological processes undergone by judges in deciding the case that was brought in front of them. So we have 2 keywords here: judges, psychological process undergone by judges. I wonder why, when we focus on legal reasoning, we have to study psychological process undergone by judges, not by other legal, other persons working in the legal field, like policeman, prosecutor, investigator, lawyer, right? There's the legal counsel, such as other peoples in the legal field. Many peoples are involved. Why we just focus on judge? Can anyone give me any idea? Raise your hand, please. Well, we should focus on judge. Oh, I forget to inform you that within this subject, your 30% of participating marking, that amount will be counted based on your attendance during classroom. I mean that you will not have to do the writing test. All of the things that I will count for you on your participations will be your answers, your presentations, your questions as well. If you give a very creative one, good ideas, and the others will be able to answer your questions, etc. You raise the questions to your friends as well. So, and even if difficult questions, I will be responsible for answering. And these kind of things will be counted for your participation, right? So therefore, raise your hand and actively involved in the classroom and discussion, please. Another note is that all of the questions that I raised during the classroom will be your final exams, or even it is a very good input for you to study this subject. Okay, so please positively, actively involved into discussion. So the first questions, when we study legal reasoning, why do we have to focus on judges? What are their roles in the legal field that you can recognize or see? What are your views or points? Ngọc Thảo. Nguyễn Phan Ngọc Thảo, please.
Yes, I'm here. So from my point of view, the reasons why we need to focus on the judges, because they will be the main, how can I say, like the role that they will have the vital right to judge or to make the conclusion for each case according to the evidences they have, or after the progress they may collect. So that's the reason why we should focus on them.
Yeah. That is really good idea. Okay, Ngọc Thảo, I will mark a positive answer for you. Okay. Now you see that if the two parties wrongly understand or differently understand the terms or the rules, the norms, okay, and they got dispute with each other, and even sometimes they correctly understand the rules, but they disagree with each other in terms of the facts. One party said that the contract is formed, your goods delivery had problems, you violate your obligations under the contract. But the other side said that they didn't break up any terms of the contract. So therefore, sometimes they even discussed and disagree about the rules or about the facts. So their lawyers present themselves, protect their rights, and stand for one side. The disputes cannot be negotiated. So who are right and who are wrong? The final decisions will be made by judge. Some cases, the disputing parties may take their case to arbitrators as well. But you know that arbitrators sometimes are not very professional in terms of legal knowledge, law knowledge, because arbitrator can be an expert in the business field that the parties have a dispute. Judges are very traditional authority person, authorized person to decide the disputes, right? The final decisions regarding the rights and obligations of the disputing parties, their decisions are enforced, are final, are enforced. Therefore, their reasoning in those decisions, judgments, are very important examples, very good examples for lawyers to apply into their cases. You see? And therefore, you see, final decisions are enforced, and therefore the legal reasonings in their decisions become an example of how the rules are interpreted into circumstances, into facts, into cases. So therefore, why we have to learn their legal reasoning in order to apply into our career, our cases. Good answers. Now we come to the decisions. I would like you to remember the moment you decide to apply into Ho Chi Minh City University of Law in order to study legal English. Just turn back to that moment when you have to make a decision. Can you tell us the stories a bit? Why did you apply? Why did you decide to apply into our university for your study? Can you share it a little bit? And then I will tell you what influenced your decisions, and then we will find out the connections, the relationships with the concept here. Someone tell the story, please. If it is not secret. Hà Trang.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Can you share with us?
Firstly, I like English, and I want to know a little bit law.
Mm-hmm. You have interest in both, in English and law, and especially your strong interest focus on English. Good. And therefore you search around, and there's no university are available, only Ho Chi Minh City Law University available to subject that the course that combines both English and law for your option, and therefore you have to stick to this university, is it?
Yes.
Oh, a very poor option, no option at all, right? Is it? A very poor option, only one option for you. So Hà Trang just have a very, very special case What about others? Kim Linh, can you share your story when you decide to get into the Ho Chi Minh City University of Law?
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, I want to learn something relating to English.
Okay.
And after that, I try to find out a university have the entrance score equal to my score at that
Okay.
time. And I
Okay.
find the Ho Chi Minh University of Law. So I applied.
Okay. Okay. So during the decisions, have you been influenced by your parents?
Yes, I tell her.
Okay. Why do you fall in love with English? What makes you like English?
Because my English teacher at the high school had a lot of knowledge about English, and they give me the inspiration.
Okay. When you get into the University of Law, do you have some guess? You guess that this university will provide good English for you to study. This university may be a good environment, etc. Did you have some guesses when you decide? If your core is suitable to the score of the university, the entrance requirements, but the reputation of the university is so bad, would you like to get in and spend 4 times studying here? Do you have some guess about the studying environment at this university when you decide?
Actually, at that time, I have no knowledge about the Ho Chi Minh University of Law.
Oh, really? Yeah, so I feel really like some of you choose your career, choose the university quite a little bit easy. You didn't get into inquiry about the reputation of the university. You didn't get into the reputations of the lecturers. And also you didn't find out any information about the working environments here. But you see that for judges, like a human beings, all of judges are persons. So therefore, in order to come to the final decisions on disputes in front of them, they have to undergo psychological process similar to us when we have to do some decisions, right? Because all of us are human beings and the judge themselves. So there are a lot of things influence their decisions. First of all is the ideas, such as yourself when you decide. You have some ideas about your about studying English, right? And you have some ideas about studying law, and you have some knowledge and would like to be inquired a lot more, to be absorbed yourself into much more English and law. So therefore, you have some ideas and judge in order to solve the case. The first very important element or factors to help them to come to the final decisions is the ideas, the knowledge that they gain from the university, from their career, from their practice. The second thing is beliefs, right? I see that you are so easy in order to decide whether you get into this university or not. You seem to have a very simple approach rather than a comprehensive approach. You didn't check up the reputations of the university, etc. But you see that in order to decide something, we need to have an internal belief. For example, you decide to love someone. You didn't know them really 100%, and even we become husband and wife and we never know each other fully. Therefore, we just have a belief that they will be good, that we will be able to live together. Sometimes we come to the decisions, we have to be based on our beliefs too. And in terms of the mental process undergone by judges, it includes the beliefs that they review the evidences and they believe that this party is right and that party is wrong. And therefore, these internal beliefs influence their final decisions. If they don't believe that Anna was a murderer in a murder case, they will ask for more evidences rather than to take the final decision. When they believe strongly that there is enough evidences for Anna to be convicted of being murdered and have to suffer the life imprisonment, so they come to the decision. You see the points. Another thing is conjectures and hunches. As a human beings, we have to also sometimes we base our decisions on clear evidences, okay? But in some cases, you know that there is some kind of environments for guesses and conjectures. Because there is some civil cases, you know, that civil cases, the rule of evidence is simple balance of probabilities. In terms of criminal cases, the requirements for proof and evidences is beyond reasonable doubts. And therefore, in criminal cases, conjectures and hunches have to be eliminated. But in civil cases, there are some gaps. Sometimes there's no rules as well. And we have to apply even the similar rules into the case and expect some result. And their expectations also involved in some of the cases that judges have to make a decisions. Finally, feelings and emotions. We don't want judges to be influenced strongly by feelings and emotions. We don't want that. But as a human beings, they have these kind of mental or psychological factors that can influence their decisions. And therefore, you see, in terms of legal reasoning in the broad sense, well, we understand that each judge undergone this kind of mental process, mental influence, mental factors influencing their decisions. But actually, judges are not strongly influenced by conjectures, hunches, feelings, emotions. These kind of mental factors are strongly influenced the ordinary people. But we don't want judges to make their final decisions based on conjectures, hunches, feelings, and emotions. They have to control themselves to decide a case based on the knowledge, evidences based on good beliefs, right? So therefore, another sense, narrow sense of legal reasoning, and we will focus mostly on this sense, is that legal reasoning is the arguments that judge give frequently in written form, right? The decisions of judges are mostly and oftenly and usually be given in written form. And when they make the decisions, they have to give the arguments why they did that, why this party win, why the other party lose. They have to give the arguments, the reasonings in support of their decisions. So we would like to focus on these arguments in order to learn experience, to learn knowledge for our own arguments. And therefore, in narrow sense, when we study legal reasoning, we mostly focus on this narrow sense, the arguments of judges when they're deciding cases. So arguments, what are they? Arguments, we will focus on this one in chapter 3 especially. But here we have some overview, some general ideas about arguments. Arguments consist of reasons for the decisions and justifications for the decision. Now, please check the dictionary, the meaning of justifications. I know some of you already know and familiar with this term, but I would like you to check it again and to tell me the meaning of the term justification here. Please check it out. English dictionary quickly and tell me the meaning of justifications.
According to our first dictionary, it means a good reason or explanation for something.
Okay, Helen, thank you. That is why I asked you to check. You see, justifications is also mean reasons. So what are differences between the first point here, reasons for the decisions, and the second point, justifications for the decisions? I need to give an example so that you can understand differences between these 2 points. Now, a girl, a very nice daughter, asked mom for a new smartphone. She said, "Mom, can you give me a new updated smartphone, Mom?" Okay. I need the smartphone for being modern because my smartphone is outdated. I hated it. I didn't look fashionable when using this phone. I was so embarrassed. My friends, they have very updated smartphones and very fashionable. I desire to be like them. Okay, that's Miss A. Ask her mom about the phone, this new smartphone. When we have another story, Miss B, she also asked her mom for a new smartphone. "Mom, my phone is very slow. It's out of date. And nowadays, because of the COVID pandemic, I have to study online. And this phone is not well connected. I often be out of the class and miss a lot of knowledge. So Mom, could you please give me a new updated smartphone so that I can study online more efficiently? And also I have to do homework as well. And in the short future, a few days next, I will have the online exam. If I was out in the middle of the exam, it will be a big problem. So could you please give me a new phone, please? Smart and updated. You see, in two stories, you both hear the reasons for the decisions, right? Why they need a new phones, and their mom will be giving them or not. Okay, so therefore they also give the reasons for their mom to make a decisions. So in these two cases, if you was in the role of this girl's mother, what do you think about the reasons that they give? Could you vote for the reasons of Miss A, or you vote for the decisions of for reasons given by Miss B? Someone raise your hand and talk, please. Mai, what about your view, Mai?
In my opinion, I'm rooting for the reasons of the Miss B, because her reason is acceptable. It's relating to her study and the results of her learning. While the reasons of Miss A is just involving to, well, her feeling about her old smartphone is outdated. Yeah.
Right. When I wonder about Thảo Linh, because I saw her turn on the microphone. Your idea is the same, or what is your judgment, Thảo Linh?
I also vote for Miss B because the evidence is so detailed and it's get easy for her mother to listen to her and agree with her suggestions.
Okay, because her reasons are reasonable, right? And justifiable, you know? That is why the justifications in the reasons are so important. The Miss B, the second girl, give the reasons, and her reasons are justified, are justifiable, right? There's justifications in her reasons. The first girl also gave reasons, but her reasons are not accepted, not justifiable, not giving the justice, you see? And therefore the word justifications are not simple reasons, not look like the dictionary giving you the ideas, but the stories that I gave you give the proper understand for differences between reasons and justifications. You see, when you face a dispute, each of the party involved gives you the reasons, but you have to analyze their reasons to find out whether there are justifications in their reasons or not. And finally, you make a decision. You yourself as a judge, you have to explain, why do you come to such decisions? Why you ignore these parties' explanations or arguments? Why you accept the defendant's reasons, the defendant's arguments, ignore the claimant's reasons or arguments, right? So as a judge, the judge have to explain the reasons and giving the justifications for their decisions. And these things are consisted of an argument. An argument consists of reasons and justifications for the decisions. And that is justice. Okay, they reach the justice. So now I hope that you all understand this slide, this content. We come to the next point. Purposes of legal reasoning study. So while talking about purposes of legal reasoning study, it's closely related to the approach that we choose about legal reasoning definitions. We already have two definitions, broad sense and narrow sense, right? Regarding each of these approach, broad approach or narrow approach, we will have different purposes. Okay. So if we study legal reasoning in the broad sense, you know that we study all of the psychological processes undergone by judges. It means that we study of judicial psychology, tâm lý tư pháp. You know that we have the subject, tâm lý học tư pháp, right? We know what happened in the mind of the judge when they decide a case. Some lawyers are very good at these psychology aspects, and they try to use all of the techniques, all of the skills in the psychological area in order to influence the decisions of the judge of judicial. And therefore, when you study of judicial psychology and biography, well, when you want to study psychology, you have to focus on persons, right? Each of the persons, the psychological process undergone by each person in order to understand what happens. And therefore, in this broad sense, it helps you to know the judge, to know their style, okay? And to understand what can impact the judge decisions, and to use these kind of techniques into influencing them when you present your clients. Okay, I give you an example so that you can understand this point. For example, tomorrow, you will have to go to the judge, to the court, presenting your clients. And you know the name of the judge is that Nguyễn Thị is the judge. You haven't met him any time before. You didn't know him. Okay, that is the case that you have to deal with in the morning. But tomorrow afternoon, you also will have another case, and the judge is Nguyễn Thị Phương Hoa, it's me. You already know me, right? You are quite familiar with me. You deal with some cases that I was involved as a judge. You know me very well. You know the style of my decision, you know the style of my questions, and you will be well prepared for kind of my questions, right? So what did you feel about the differences between coming and getting into the morning case? And what about the feelings when you get into the afternoon case? In which cases you feel more confidence? When you meet a completely new judge, or when you meet with a very familiar judge that you work with them for many times? What do you feel? If you want to speak, raise your hand, okay? Because it's now I'm marking your participation, and therefore try to speak as much as possible. I'm waiting for volunteer. Hỷ Long. No one would like to be volunteer. Hỷ Long.
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
Normally I would feel the judge, the trial of Judge Nguyễn Bá Trạc.
Why?
Would be more difficult. Because I think that I didn't get him well, so I couldn't.
You feel the strong feeling
Yes.
of influence him, right?
Yes.
Okay. What about your confidence? When you meet Nguyễn Bá Trạc for the first time, you feel more confidence, or you meet him the second time, you feel more confidence? When you meet someone for the first time, you didn't know them, you feel more confident, or when you meet someone that you already know and work with, you feel more confident?
I think that I need to meet someone I already know to be more confident. Yes.
Yeah, of course. So regarding back, can I make some commentary on your answer, Hỷ Long? So I make some commentary on your answer, okay, Hỷ Long?
Yeah.
Would you like to know what do I think about your answer?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Hỷ Long. When you said that, you feel more confident when you come to, you would like to see, when I asked you, what do you feel about the morning case with Nguyễn Bá Trạc judge, when you didn't know anything about him? And what about you feel when you come to the second afternoon case with the judge Nguyễn Thị Phương Hoa that you already know? Hỷ Long choose to go for the first case with a completely unknown judge because of the feeling of excitement, right? But this is because Hỷ Long was not experienced with working in the legal field, right? Because Hỷ Long is a student, and therefore Hỷ Long pick up this answer. If you are, or if you were, because you are not now, if you were a true lawyer, you will have to be prepared much more when you meet a new judge. You don't know what kind of questions You are given, you will be given in your case. You didn't know what kind of style that the judge could like to hear your oral arguments. You didn't know what he didn't like and what he likes in order to influence him. Okay? So therefore, you will feel excited, but you feel less confidence. But in the practice, you receive the money from your clients. Your clients pay money for you in order to win the case. If you lose the case, they will never come to you again. They will turn out to other lawyers. Therefore, if you present your clients in front of the courts, there are no excitement feelings. No, never. That is not an acceptable feeling. You have to be cautious. You have to be confident. You have to be well prepared for everything to be happen. You have to be calm, not excited. Excited is only the feeling of the students when they want to know something new, and as a person when we want to know something new. But here you come to the war. You come to the disputes between two parties. Either you win alive or you lose dead. Okay? No excitement feelings to be influenced. Your arguments, your work. Okay, it can be because you see that young lawyer can be excited too, but that is a very small part. That is not should to be so strong to influence. You have to be reliable. You have to be professional. You have to win. You have to be alive. You have to be persuasive. You have to be prepared for everything suddenly happen. Because this is a war. This is a dispute. Okay? So therefore, if you feel the chance to win better in the afternoon case because you think that it will be easier to influence the judge. So if your boss gives you an options, would you like to the morning case or the afternoon case for winning the case? Take me back, a very good answers. So in such a case, if two cases are very familiar, very similar to each other's, they will opt to choose a familiar judge who didn't know well and they think that their style they can understand and influence. That is why they have to spend time to study judicial psychology and biography. If this have no meaning at all, there is no subject of judicial psychology and there is no need to study biography of judges. Okay. Do you get the point? Long, do you get my point?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I see that our students is quite easy with like the lecturers, and even you know that some English speaking environments, you have a chance to choose your lecturer. It's really credit system. In the credit system, the students are free, not really free, but have a lot of freedoms in choosing the subject to study. They have a lot of options. And also there are quite a lot of freedoms for them to pick up the time of their study. I could like to study this subject in the first year, or some students could like to study this subject when they are like quite mature and they let it into the third year. And even they can choose the lecturer. And therefore, they spend time to read their biography, you know, in order to understand whether I have a chance to work with a well-known teacher, a very nice teacher, or I have to work it with a very harsh one. And even when they are harsh, they haven't got good knowledge and experience to share with me. I couldn't get much from his course or her course. And therefore, you didn't spend much of time to find out biography of your lecturers. But you see, in other countries, they are very inquire into biography, as well as they look at the research studies and the results of their academic field work. Similarly, in terms of going to the courtroom, lawyers spend time to read the biography and find out some of the judicial psychology aspects of their judges in order to find out, to understand what impacts the judge's decisions, and try to use all of those techniques to influence or to impact them. That is why the broad sense has certain elements of importance. And I don't mean that it's very important, but it's quite have some areas or factors or elements that we have to learn. In the narrow sense, we inquire into the arguments of the judge's decisions, right? We inquire into the arguments of the judge's decisions, and therefore it means that we inquire into the logic of the judicial decisions. So we inquire what kinds of arguments judges give, right? Later on, you will study some kinds of or some types of arguments, deductive or inductive arguments. You understand the types of arguments. So what kinds of arguments judge gives? And also the relationship between reasons and decisions. What reasons for them to make this kind of decision, such a decision, why your party is lost? What reasons are there? And also, you have to check up the adequacy, the justifications in their decisions, okay? The adequacy, the justifications of their reasons. As we already know, giving reasons is just only one side. The adequacy, the reasonableness, or the justifications in their reasons is also very important. And therefore, we have to look at the adequacy. The adequacy here is not only belongs to kind of statements, theories, rules, norms, but adequacy here is also related with the facts, the circumstances, the evidences, the proof that the judge gave in order to support their reasoning. In studying all of these, for what? For nothing? No. If the inquiry into the logic of judicial decision-making has earned nothing, it's meaningless. On the other side, another answer is that this is very important because you can apply this logic into your career. next time, this time you lose the case. But next time, if you defend your clients better, if the circumstances and the rules are in favor of you, and you know how to use them, how to interpret them, so you may win the case, right? So therefore, using this kind of logic, this kind of reasoning, you see, you study the arguments, you study the reasonings and justifications, you apply all of this into your case, into your career, how to construct the arguments for your clients, what evidences should you use, what rules should you mention, and what aspects are justifications for you to decide. Okay, so therefore, studying narrow sense in legal reasonings can help you to take the good samples of reasonings into your own career to develop yourself in your career. Now, skills required for legal reasoning study. I would like you to think by yourself. What skills? Right? What skills required for legal reasoning study?
I think critical thinking is very important.
Yeah. Well, why? Why do you think legal reasoning is needed with critical thinking?
Yes, because we have to analyze the opinion and we have to think about everything much more clearly and give the opinion about the reasons of the judges.
Because well, when you see that in the disputes, there are both sides, right? And they are conflicted with each other. Is it conflicted with each other? And therefore, the way you think, maybe not the way the other people think, because they are arguing with each other. The other side say that they are right, but you said they are wrong. So you see, in one case, but different approaches, different views of things. And therefore, if you don't have critical thinking view, you cannot understand the other side. You cannot understand what do they think. You didn't expect what are their arguments. If you didn't have any guess, any expectation about their arguments, how can you prepare to win them? You were like to be attacked suddenly and you are not prepared. So how can you win them in this kind of disputes? And therefore, critical thinking help you to understand the issues in different approaches, in different angles, in different sides, your side and the other sides, right? Therefore, critical thinking is extremely important for lawyers. So people often said that lawyers have a very good critical thinking skill. Thank you, Thảo Linh. We will focus on this much more for next time. Okay. See you next time. I will be better next time. I hope that I'm not too tired so that we can see next time on time. Okay. Thank you, everyone. we stop here.
Goodbye,
Thank you,
teacher.
teacher.
Yep, thank you all.
Have a nice weekend.
Yeah, you too. Nice weekend and peaceful time to relax yourself. Okay, bye-bye.